You like that?
Come on.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, whenever.
Do you want me to just do this?
Please, Lord. Please, baby Jesus.
Why are you so upset, Bobby?
Because we got to still meet with Toby after this.
Okay. We'll be fast, all right?
Okay.
What are you giggling for? I gotta wait till you guys stop giggling over there.
I'm not even doing anything. Just go.
All right. Hey, everyone. It's me, Sean Capri. Before we start today's show, I wanted to thank all of our major... Bobby. You know what I did? I saw patrons was coming up and I was going to say it right. I hate that you're recording this too because I know you're going to include in some sort of stupid blooper or something.
You and Toby, I love it. Because you know why? You son of a bitch. You guys used to always mock me and laugh at me when I would screw up. And be like,
that's why I screwed up because that's karma. I was literally going to be like, I was going to put a lot of emphasis on patrons and Patreon. Oh, damn it. That's what I get.
Love it.
That's what I get.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, everyone. It's me, Sean Capri. Before we start today's show, what are you crackling stuff over there for?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
What in the world?
I wanted to mess with you, that's all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. You forgot.
No. I was just like,
let's have a snack here. This is a good time for me to go ahead.
I did the same thing to Toby yesterday. I was just like, interrupting and stuff. So
funny. All right. All right. Hey, everyone. It's me, Sean Capri. Before we start today's show, we wanted to thank all of our amazing... I can't believe that shit, Bobby. Damn it. Hang on. Here we go.
Oh my god!
I'm taking out this word.
Amazing.
Amazing. I can't say amazing. I can't say it.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Oh, my stomach hurts, dude. Oh, God.
All right. Are you good? I need to get this out.
I'm good, man.
Be hard. Maybe I need to shorten my window. Here we go. Then shorter line.
I gotta mute because I'm gonna be laughing. I can't.
All right. Hey, everyone. It's me, Sean Capri. Before we start today's show, we wanted to thank all of our patrons supporting us on patreon.com/makeusbetter. Today's episode is brought to you by our executive producers, Nick from Next Level Games, Joel Brooks, and James Johnson. We love you guys. Ooh.
If we ran Nintendo. If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 68 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. See, Sean, that's how you do it. That's how you do it, baby.
I'm always impressed by you. Bobby, you're not only the Nintendo Guru, you're the podcast guru, you're the enunciation guru.
Yeah, okay.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I can really enunciate, hot trash in the summer. That's what I enunciate.
Oh my god. I love that saying.
Hot trash in the summer? It's the worst.
You know what? That's coming from privileged people who get summer.
Dude, let me tell you something.
That's really offensive to Canadians. We don't get no summer. We don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about. Hot trash in the summer.
Let me tell you something. One time,
must be nice.
One time when I was landscaping, right? In my area, Camden, it's really, really bad. It's like saying it's ghetto that's disrespectful to the ghetto. Like, it is bad. This area was really, really bad, dude. It was like, apparently what happened was this one section, it was this one block was just drug dealers. That's all it was. And they actually were paying the people in the community to sit on top of the rooftops with radios, and they would call down to the drug dealers whenever cops were coming into the area. And one day, an undercover cop went in and got killed. And
what?
Yeah, and at that point, what happened was the mayor and everybody just cracked down, and that was it. And they just change the whole area. So what they were doing was John Bon Jovi and a bunch of different like rich people in.
What about Bruce Springsteen?
He didn't do nothing. He's a bum.
Oh, come on, man! Isn't that he's from the same area, isn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't want to get involved. So what they did was they donated money to revitalize the area. So what they did was they tore down all the trash homes and like just built these really nice homes. And wanted to think this one guy would not sell his home. So they were like, all right, we'll do some stuff for you. It's a long story, but I'm going to wrap it up real quick. So anyway, I'm landscaping. They hired me to come in and put this retaining wall, right, in his backyard. And I'm like, this is whatever. So I go in and I look at the area and I measure it off. And then I go in, we start to work on this wall. And dude, he had trash. No lie, dude. Like he would just walk out the back door and throw trash into the backyard. Dude, I'm like, dude, it was the worst smell in God's creation. I was wearing I actually had a mask on because we were trying to get the trash out, and I just said, I gotta go in and do this because this is just ridiculous. My guys weren't like wanting to get anywhere near it. I'm like, so I just put like a big jacket on so like the maggots and stuff wouldn't get on me, and I put like a mask on my face and like gloves, and I'm just like throwing the bags all over the place. It was the worst thing ever. Dude, I've never smelled something that bad in my life. So whenever I say like hot trash in the summer, that's where that phrase comes from, because it was.
Well, between you and Chris White, we're hearing a lot about hot trash, hot garbage, the time.
Not me, Chris White. Yeah.
What's up, Chris?
He's got real problems lately with.
He doesn't have problems. He's get a little excited.
He's overexcited. I think the thing is
I've been there. I've been there.
He's got that Xbox podcast, and he's trying to puff his chest up to his Xbox boys.
I gotta say, man, I was on my Xbox yesterday with neighbor Matt. We were playing up until probably like 1 a.m. We were playing The Division yesterday. Mm-hmm. Good times, man. Mm-hmm. And we were going through all of our games, and honestly, it was crazy. Like both of us, we've got more games on there. We could stop buying games now and play until we're old men, until we're bones. Yeah, man, it's good. It's crazy. There's too many games.
Oh, that's never a bad thing.
Got Splatoon coming up. We got Mario Rabbids.
I am so ready for Splatoon.
Got all the Zelda DLC.
So ready for Splatoon, man.
There's so many games on the Switch. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to play all these games on my Switch, Bobby. What a problem.
What are you talking about? We don't have nothing. We have nothing. There's nothing on the Switch. Apparently, that's the word from the people that don't own a Switch, have no clue what they're talking about. This isn't like when Colin Moriarty was trying to convince people that the PlayStation 4 had games in year one. This is legitimate games. Like, this is big games that are not these little, Resogun type games. Like, come on.
Resogun's good, man.
It's good, but when that's all you... No, but I'm saying, like, not all... What I'm saying is that's not all we have. Like, he's looking at... We have Zelda. Like, I got you. You just saw me. I just did 120th Shrine, and it's like...
Something that I don't know if I'll ever do, Bobby. Maybe not this year, but this is something...
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Is Zelda, like... It's not even fair to any other game. Mm-mm. I mean...
If this game does not win Game of the Year... If this game does not win Game of the Year, then I'm telling you right now, people are just being bitter, and they're just... You know what I mean? Like... There's no reason why this game shouldn't win Game of the Year.
My favorite thing is the conversation around this has sort of gone from, like, this is the best game in, like, the best Zelda of all time, the best game in the last 10 years, the best game of the year. And then this is what happens when things are really, really popular. People are really excited about things. They start to go, is it really that great? What if it wasn't a Zelda game? And it's like, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go, like, take away, like, the heart of this thing and go, is it the same? Of course it's not the same. Like, it's not even a worthwhile conversation. And I hear that a lot, and it drives me, if you can't tell, it drives me a little bit nuts.
But I think that should be the biggest factor of this all, is that they basically took the Zelda franchise, flipped it up on its ear, and people still love it. And they've done stuff that other open world games have never been able to do. And it's just like, there was a lot of people that I talked to that were just like, I was just talking to Brock last week, and Brock was just like, dude, I was tired of open world games. And here it is now. Like, I had fatigue of open world games, and Zelda just sucked me in, man. And it was like, they've done stuff that, like, I mean, this is essentially, other than what I've always said, is the original Zelda was the first open world game. But, like, other than that, like, Nintendo hasn't really messed with open world games. Nintendo itself, like Monolith.
That is crazy, isn't it?
But, like, your first one, and you just knock it out the park, and not even that, like, it's the great. It's going to go down as one of the greatest games of all time. Hands down. Like, it will always be in the conversation for forever now. And it's nuts, you know? And the funny thing is, like, that's what the people that get upset with Nintendo and bash Nintendo and stuff like that, like, guys, newsflash for you. As much as you hate Nintendo, every single one of those Nintendo games are always going to be in the conversation of the greatest games ever. There will always be some Mario game in the conversation. There will always be some Zelda game in the conversation. Don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, like, you have, like, Last of Us that'll probably be in there in that conversation.
It should be.
I feel like it should, but like the rest of them, just toss a dart. You might be able to grab. You know what I mean? Like, but these two of this company you guys can't stand is just killing it, and to see Nintendo 30 years later just go, hey guys, we're gonna try that. We're finally gonna give this a shot and see what we can do, and just totally crush it. Just blows. The thing
that puts Nintendo in a tough spot these days in terms of like the conversation that people are having is that this console launched 4 years after the current gen of everything else, right? So like, it's very unlikely that it will ever catch up. At least like you have to look at year over year, right? Like you have to look at Xbox's first year versus the Switch's first year, and then you'll probably have like a comparable conversation. Yeah. But like they've had years head start. Yeah. So whenever you're looking at install base, there's always going to be the argument that Nintendo won't have all of these other things unless they had just phenomenal, which they already are. Yeah. They need to up production a little bit in order to really catch up.
I think Japan's going to carry them for years.
It's crazy. I'm looking at figures, man, from the Switch versus especially the Xbox, both One and the 360, and it's like you can count those sales in the dozens. Yeah. Like I buy more eggs in a week than Japan sells Xboxes, if you know what I mean.
What blows me away is, and this is the most amazing thing that people aren't getting. So right now in Japan, Switch is burying everybody. You know, it's beating PS4.
That's so surprising, isn't it? Well, I don't know. It's actually going toe to toe with PS4. I think
it's just beat PS4 this last month.
I wonder what.
But here's what blows me out of the water with that is they don't have, like, it's not like there's an abundance of them on the shelves. They're very limited, and they hit the shelves, they sell out. They hit the shelves, they sell out. Like, and
man.
Even the other day, like I was going through my Twitter feed and Amazon was putting them up, right? So Amazon puts them up, and then like I see people like 20 minutes later going, update sold out. And it's like, my God, man, this is craziness.
Yeah, man.
They're doing something very special with this. And I think that the people that are kind of down on it at this point just are sour grapes to me. Like, you're going to give in eventually. I feel that, like, this thing it's around to stay. Like, as much as people don't like it, as much as people are bashing it, it's not going anywhere.
Man, it is awesome. I can't wait for more Joy-Cons. I actually want to get more controllers for this thing. Yeah. And I wish Nintendo could somehow swing its big old Japanese hand around and get Persona 5 on that thing. My God, like it's so funny that it seems like Persona 5 is stranded on the PS4. I might be the only one who thinks that way, but I don't think that I am. Like, I enjoyed Persona 4 so much better because it was on the Vita. Yeah. Like, I played it. I went to Vancouver, so a round trip to Vancouver is like 20 hours of driving. Yeah. So that was a good chunk of Persona on there. And like, I just don't sit down on my PS4 and play Persona 5.
It's hard.
I'll play Horizon, I'll put. I think I'm about 80 hours into Zelda, which is hilarious because I got to the Divine Beast. Like, I'm in no interest, no rush. Also because I don't know what to do. Bobby, I don't even know what I'm doing in this game, and I'm still having a great time. Like, I'll catch on every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, that's what I need to do. And then I'll go spend 20 hours doing that. Yeah. And then I'll come back and spend another 10 hours doing I don't even know what. And I go, oh, yeah, I got to do something else. And then
I'm in
venture
love.
off.
So I was saying to Toby yesterday, my main thing
What's up, Toby?
These things. This is what I'm going to collect in this generation. So they're coming out with the Splatoon one.
Controllers.
Right? I'm going to buy the Splatoon one, and then I might have in my display case, like when I buy the new one, retire the old one, and just continue to put them in there. You know what I mean?
I do that on Xbox.
I love it, man. I want because the Joy-Cons to me, like, they're not my favorite thing to use. So why do I want to spend all that money on Joy-Cons?
What I meant by that is, like, not just like reskin ones, but I actually think that we'll see different types of Joy-Cons or different types of things that attach onto the side.
I got you.
Some things that are a little bit more like ergonomic, or just not that just make the whole shape of it kind of like nice and that rounded rectangle, which looks really nice. I think that they can get really creative with stuff. Which is insane that we have this type of console. That, I mean, people will hate this word, but you can iterate on this thing like crazy.
Absolutely.
Which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Geek outs, Bobby. Geek outs. Yes, it's time for the geek outs. Oh my goodness, the geek outs are happening. Yes, I love geek outs. You know what else? I want to give a shout out. I'm going to jump the gun here. I'm going to give a shout out to Toby, our boy Toby.
Okay.
I don't think anybody says cool better than Toby. I think Toby says cool out of anybody on the internet. He says cool the best. So I want to give him a quick shout out.
It's better than
I can't even say it.
It's better than he says Zelda. Like
I never noticed that.
Yeah,
Zelda.
When we get, we're
I
gonna
guess
get a,
so. I
we're
guess
gonna get a
that
call
would
in a minute. We're gonna have him say Zelda and watch he'll go Zelda.
Oh, that's really mean.
No, it's not.
We're gonna like set him up.
I'm gonna set him up. I'll record it.
We should talk about all our patrons
I'll
on
record it.
Patreon.
You know what, man? Screw you, Brock
I
McLaughlin.
know. Well, but yes, he's my shout out too. Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to Brock McLaughlin. Number one, yes, covering for Sean, coming in. It was a great time.
Canadian Day.
I apologize for misspelling your name on the overlay. I have misspelled it all across the board. Sean was like, Bobby, you misspelled this. And I was like, oh my God, I did. I don't know what I was looking at.
I think I remember. I think I did the same thing when he was on my show for the first time. I'm almost positive that I did. So there you go.
I went back in.
Or I said it weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But I went in and I changed it all across the board. And I put the video up and I wasn't even paying attention. And Sean's like, Bobby, you misspelled his name on the overlay. And I'm like, oh my God. Good Lord. Anyway, I apologize, Brock. But dude, I love this guy. Seriously. Like,
How can you concentrate when you're looking at it, those eyes, the video?
He's got the coolest. He's got the coolest name that I know. Right. First off, let's start with that. Mm-hmm. Amazing name. Then you look at him. The dude's gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like I'm secure enough in my own masculinity that I can say that. You know,
he's in the gym, man. He looks good.
Dude, the guy is like, and he's got like when that's the funny thing. And I said this to you this week. I was like, you look at this guy, you see his name, you look at him, you see all he's doing, and you go, this guy could be a total
douchebag.
Yeah, I could hate him, and I don't. I love him. He is so cool, man.
I know. I hate him. I mean, I love him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm gonna mess this name up big time.
Oh no!
All right, but I apologize beforehand. But Variento Ariabobo. New subscriber to the channel, been coming to all the live streams, hanging out, talking to me, leaving comments on the videos. So I want to give a shout out and say thank you for that. That means the world. I can't say thank you enough, so I appreciate that. David Fernandez. So I don't even know how many episodes it was back. We actually featured David at the end of one of the episodes singing. Because that's what he does. He likes to sing in his spare time. He's a very good singer. He gave me a Steam code yesterday for Hyper Light Drifter, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he reached out to me because I gave him, a while back, I gave him a code to SteamWorld Heist. And he was like, dude, I love that game. It was so much fun. I wanted to kind of repay you if I could. You know, you have this game. And I was like, no, I don't. And he's like, I'd like to give you the code for it. And I was like, okay.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yeah, man, it was...
Is Steam like Mac? Can you do Mac Steam? I don't even... That's how much I know about that.
Yeah,
okay.
And what I'm thinking is I'll just use my Pro Controller, because you can hook your Pro Controller up to it.
Oh, that is so good.
So I'll do that. And then my last shout-out for today is Alvaro Cardoza. So Alvaro is my boy, and we used to play a lot. I mentioned Alvaro during the Ink Strike podcast live, which I did with Mark Carabin the other night. Mm-hmm. And Alvaro and
Which was awesome, by the way. Shout out to Mark Carabin. That was so good, man.
It was fun. And we're gonna start doing it that way now. We're gonna start working that way more. We're gonna take that to a live venue. Dude, when we got off, he was messaging me privately. He's like, "Dude, that was so much fun. Thank you for doing that." I was like, "Yeah, man."
You guys really seem like you just kind of like fell back. It's like when a high school reunion actually is fun.
Yeah,
that's what it seemed like.
With us, we just like anytime me and Mark get into a call, it's just.
I'm sorry to sidetrack your shout out here, but fine. Can you talk about the weapons again that are coming in Splatoon? Because I just love hearing you, a grown man on the internet, talk about double dualies. What were the weapons again? Or you just rattle a bunch of them off?
Dapple dualies.
The dapple dualies, yep.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
The Crash Blaster.
And
the umbrella something.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, Alvaro used to always play with Mark and I, and me and Alvaro used to play a lot by ourselves until Mark actually started to get the gist of like, hey, come hang with us and play. And dude, me and Alvaro put in so much time, and we were like badass when it came to Splatoon. So the other day, he actually commented on one of my videos. I think my Splatoon 2 direct.
I think I saw that.
And he was like, dude, I can't wait. And I'm like, all of a sudden I started to get the jitters, man, because I'm like, dude, we used to wreck stuff. And we used to do game nights almost every single night with Splatoon. I would just go into the Facebook group and be like, guys, I'm gonna be playing Splatoon in about 10 minutes. Who wants to come?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you just see the lobby fill up with people, and it was like, here we go, man. This is good. And I wouldn't
wait.
And I didn't even do like create, because at the time you couldn't create your own lobbies. It was just I would go into a lobby and people would find me and then join the room. And like, dude, and we said this on the thing. On the show, but like me and Mark and Alvaro and some of the other guys, like when it would finally get to like when we could finally get it, where like 4 of us were on the same team, it was like game on. You knew you were owning things. Like it was.
I can't wait.
So I can't wait for this. It's gonna be.
I'm on the wrong side of the damn continent though, because if you're doing that, that's gonna be like, it's gonna be 6 o'clock my time when you do that. I'm gonna be just getting home. I'm gonna be handling babies and whatnot. I don't know.
I don't know because listen, right now the way I am with making videos,
I can't wait.
I think you're fine.
That's true. What the hell, Bobby?
I'm not getting done until late at night.
You gotta back off.
I'm getting done like 10:30, 11, and then I a little wound up and I can't go to bed right away. So I stay.
Well, my favorite thing is you start out Nintendo Talk. You're like, here's the deal, Monday to Friday, boom, 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 and then it's like a little disclaimer underneath, and Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like always. Pretty
much. Because I do Nintendo Talk Live, and when I can and that's been phenomenal. That's been a lot of fun. This episode will be past by the time, but tonight, this is Sunday that we're recording this. Tonight, I'm having Berg, my boy Bergability. He's a Twitch streamer.
That is a great name.
It's a great name, phenomenal dude. So we met yesterday for about 10-15 minutes. First time we actually talked face to face. I found him via Twitch and started going to his streams and stuff, and like fell in love with the guy. Like, this guy is phenomenal.
Aww.
Man. So I meet him yesterday. It's funny because I can get long-winded as people are listening now. Like, get to the topics.
I don't know about that.
I can. And so we're talking. I'm like, oh, dude, Berg. Anyway, let me let you go, man. I took up enough of your time. And I guess his answer was yes. And I was like, and he goes, oh my God, that I did not mean that like that. He goes, that was so savage. I am so sorry, man. And I was like, wow, like you really said it like that? And he goes,
and you wore out his filter for him.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, it was so funny, man. It was so funny. But he was like, I am so sorry. That is not what I meant. And he's like, I guess he was just saying like, yes, we can. It's time to go. Like, let's go our separate ways. We'll talk tomorrow. And so I can't wait for today's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have like a list of questions I'm going to go through and talk to him about. And I'm kind of interested. And in our conversation, we kind of talked about the differences between YouTube and Twitch. And it's two different beasts. That's cool. It's two different animals. So I want to bring some of that into this conversation tonight, so it'll be interesting. Do you have any shout outs?
I want to hear that. Yeah, I do have a couple of shout outs, but I want to hear that too, because I was just, as we are approaching our Make Us Better Patreon is just doing amazing. And we're reaching that critical $75 mark. And We the Gamercast looks like it might be coming up to that video portion, and I was thinking about maybe doing some live stuff on Twitch and then putting the recorded stuff, like the whole beginning and the interview and the end part maybe doing that on YouTube as well. I'm not sure. So I want to hear this conversation of YouTube versus Twitch and stuff. Like maybe this is like a gaming talk show that can be on Twitch for people to tune into. Yeah. I don't know. I need to listen to this.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, man, I got a couple shout outs. I've got some great conversations in the can that are going to be unleashed over the next couple of weeks for We the Gamercast. So I want to give a shout out to Alejandro Buendia.
Oh, he's on?
He is on. He people will have heard it by now. And if you missed it, go back to We the Gamercast. Alejandro is so amazing. And like, I don't know what it is, Bobby, but it's like I don't really know what to expect when people are like, yeah, I follow your stuff and like I listen to it, and I'm like, it's maybe this has to be my own like self-deprecating, like I don't really think highly of myself, so when somebody comes up and like I don't know what to expect. Dude is like a genius, by the way. Yes, and I can't wait for you to listen to this conversation because he is, and I keep talking to people who listen to our stuff and they're like, by the way, I'm doing my master's, I'm getting my PhD and all these different things. I'm like, what are you doing, like, listening to me?
Yeah,
like, you're way smarter than, like, anyway. So I have a huge amount of respect for Alejandro. It was a great conversation, and I'm so happy that it's going up. And I wanted to I know we give shout-outs to our executive producers, and I'll talk about this also on We the Gamercast as well. I wanted to give a very heartfelt thank you to James Johnson. On Tuesday night, he signed up, and it was not a great night for me, so I was playing soccer, and I hope I'm not repeating too much. I'm going to try and keep this short.
That's fine.
I was playing soccer, and one of my teammates went up he tried to head the ball, Bobby. Or football, sorry. Playing football. And one of the guys went up to try and head the ball, and the two dudes just, like, smashed faces about as hard as you could possibly. Like, just that sickening, like, flesh on flesh and bone, like, and the guy probably did as much damage hitting the ground as he did hitting the other guy's face, so it's just like he doubled down on it. Long story short, he was taken off the field in an ambulance to a hospital. He broke like 7 bones in his face, plus his nose. Like this is bottom of the barrel soccer. This is not good. Like it's men's league, but it's not good. Yeah. And it's like, this is not worth it. So I had a very like aha moment of, I'm done. That was my last soccer game. That was it. And I've been playing soccer since I was 5 years old. Wow. And that was it. And so I had like just watched this dude like screaming like a little like when you're in that much pain, you don't even know what you're doing. Yeah. You're just wailing because he broke his entire face. So I was right next to him when it happened, and it sucked. And I called his wife, and she had to take the kids next door so that she could go to the hospital and all this stuff. Like, dude, I'm done. Yeah. I'm just gonna do podcasting now, I guess. Wow. So gave up soccer that night, and then I'm getting in my car and I'm checking my phone, and then I see this thing from James Johnson, and this is one example of many of the pieces of feedback that we get from people that just like, you guys have no idea how much your support means to us. Like in this moment, it just like, it saved my night. Like it saved my week. I needed that so badly. And I just wanted to thank James so much, man.
And the funny thing is this, is you, Toby, and I do this thing where so I get the notification first that someone is supporting us on Patreon. And if I don't know the name, I'm like, I don't know this person. So I send you and Toby a message like, so-and-so just joined. Do you guys know this guy? Because what I like to do is I like to send a tweet out and thank the person. And typically that's what I'll do is I'll tweet out and I'll say, hey, man, thank you so much. And I'll tag Toby and Sean in so they have the opportunity to thank him as well. James never tweeted us before, none of that. And I was just like, yep. Who is this guy? And I don't know. And then just so happened he tweeted us afterwards to say, hey, so I just was like, I followed him back immediately and was like, dude, thank you so much, man. This is just, you have no idea. And I think the reason why I bring that up is it's just amazing to think when you think about it. There's so many people that listen to us that we don't even know are listening to us. So that's why we we love the feedback. Like, just take 2 minutes and be like, hey guys, I'm listening. Thank you. Whatever.
It's awesome.
It's just amazing, man. It really is. It's phenomenal.
So one last shout out. This kind of just happened the other day. I was playing ARMS, and Josue and I have been like, man, we gotta meet up sometime. Josue Ponce from Nintendo Mobile News. We gotta meet up. We gotta play some ARMS or something. And I'm so glad that he's on me about this, because I don't know, like it just might not happen. And then he hit me at the right time, and we just started playing. And dude, Josue is amazing at this game. I can't touch him. He's just like, and he's Ninjaro, and he's like smoke. He's just like gone. Yeah. And then before I know it, I check online, and there's Jason Lacey, and there's Brendan Myers, and all of a sudden, like, we got this room going. This, and then you came on, and it was so it was so much fun. I just want to give a quick shout out to Josue.
I got beat
Brendan
so
Myers,
bad.
King of the Pirates.
I got beat so bad by Jason Lacey and Josue that I actually traded ARMS in. I'm like, I can't play this game anymore. I'm done. They embarrassed me so bad. Now, I had already planned on getting rid of it. It's a good game. I'm not knocking the game. Please don't take my trading it in to be anything other than...
you brought it up.
I know, but with Splatoon on the horizon, that's where my focus is. That's the game I want to play. With this, it's just like, whatever. You know, I think Nintendo put this in the wrong time, honestly. They probably should have pushed ARMS to probably come out. They should have moved Splatoon back to when ARMS launched, and they should have moved ARMS to, like, the end of the year. Like, maybe Thanksgiving,
No,
Christmas
man,
time.
It was good filler. It was a good...
Nah, man,
No,
because I think it's getting lost
out.
in the mix, man. It's getting lost in the mix.
I don't know, man. It outsold Tekken and Street Fighter. Like,
yeah, that's fine. But when next week or in 2 weeks when Splatoon comes out, I promise you, no one's going to even remember ARMS.
That's fine. It did its job. All it needed to do was just fill in a little bit of a gap there. Splatoon wasn't ready yet. Splatoon needed to come out.
When you have a new IP like that, you want to have longevity with it.
I truly believe that they're putting a big old check mark next to ARMS. That's a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up emoji and a happy face emoji.
I hope so. Okay, so topic times. I'm curious about this because me and Mark Carabin kind of had a conversation the other day, and it led me into an idea for a topic. So, if we ran Nintendo, what changes would we implement into the next version of Switch? There's no doubt we're going to get a Switch U or a Switch 2 or whatever they do. You know what I mean? Like, basically, like we've all been, like I've said numerous times.
New Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it'll be like the tablet section will break out and they'll just sell you the tablet and whatever. So it'll be more upgraded and advancements made to it. What would you like to see changed on the Switch moving forward?
So, I think that we need to get into maybe more than just what I feel like the basics are, and the things that like you and I even predicted before the Switch even came out, which is like upgrade the screen to 1080p, get the battery a little bit better battery life. Yeah. Like I don't know what else we need out of it other than that. Like, do we want to get as creative as to wireless streaming to the TV? Because I think that the way that the video was handled on the Wii U is actually pretty sweet. Like the way that it was able to broadcast video to the gamepad was pretty awesome. Yeah. And I remember like right when the NX was first kind of rumored around, there was this idea that there would be a wireless dongle from the console itself before we even knew it was a hybrid, but from the console to the TV. So you didn't have to run an HDMI cord to it. It just had like some sort of like Chromecast broadcasting or something. I don't even know how that would work. But I think that would be really cool. I think that upgrading the actual portability of the console itself, this isn't anything that you really put on the front of the box or anything. This is now getting into kind of like nitty gritty stuff. But for people who have had their chance to have the Switch for a little while and go like, it'd be really like, it'd be nice to be able to move that around from TV to TV. It's really cumbersome to do that right now. And it would be really amazing for that to be a little simpler. Yeah. But I don't know, like maybe the dock is already doing that. What do you think?
For me, I have multiple docks, so that doesn't. Yeah. That's not. See,
we're gonna get like, and the docks are priced so expensively that for us, like it actually makes, and maybe this is the point of it. They're priced so expensive that we are just gonna get a second Switch, which obviously comes with another dock, and then we can just kind of like switch around.
I have three. If we're looking at that, I have three. Then I have the two TVs here, and then the TV on my desk. And I'm actually going to buy a fourth at some point and put it on the TV upstairs. But for me, so I'll start hitting. I have like five here, five changes I would make on this.
I've got one that kind of go into two different things too.
Okay, so for me, the first one that I would do is I would change the flap on the cartridge port. No, on the cartridge port.
Oh, yeah.
I would take that off and make it more like a 3DS where it's just open all the time. I can't stand it. It feels like, to steal your word from earlier, it feels cumbersome to try to change cartridges, especially when it's in the dock, because we know that this thing's kind of like loosey-goosey as it is, and I don't want to scratch it. So I always pull the thing out and then change the cartridges. I would like it just to be like an open top. You pop the cartridge in, done. I feel like it would be a better solution than what we have. Again, and at this point, like we've said, this is all kind of like nitpick stuff that you've had time to use the thing now, and these are some things you go, oh, I wish they would have done this, or I wish they would have done that. So that's the first thing for me. Do you have something? What was your next?
Yeah, thing? I've got a couple things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the form factor of this thing, and actually, Chris White, as much as he's making the entire Nintendo nation just burn to a ground right now in a riot with all the pitchforks and torches, he made a good point. And he made a point that actually reminded me of the Vita, which is the Switch, even though it's a portable console, you can bring it around wherever, it's not that portable. It's not as portable as your 3DS. And the picture he painted, and I love this because it's perfect, is when you're waiting in line at Disney World or Disneyland, you're just like waiting to get on the ride. How easy is it for you to just whip out that 3DS, you flip it open, and you're just playing a game, and you close it, and you put it back in your pocket when it's time to move or you need to look up. I mean, technically you can do that, but just the fact that it's like the open face, like there really is no clamshell. You got to maybe grab a case for it to for that to work in the same way. I think Nintendo needs to address that a little bit, and I think on both sides. So I think I could see them going in two directions, and very similar to what they've done with the 3DS in the past, where they go huge. You have an XL version, which we'll talk about, and then you have a smaller version. You have like almost like a Switch I or something, like a DSi kind of thing. Or Switch Lite, I don't even know what you would call it, a Pocket, something like that. And the idea with the Pocket is like really leaning into the portability factor, where you can just put it in your pocket. And I don't know if it's a clamshell design or it's got to have something sort of built into it that you can just throw it in your pocket without having to worry about the screen. Yeah. And you can and it for the people who want to use the Switch who have no interest in putting it in the dock, like a lot of people are saying that that's how they play it. I think that the way that they've launched it, I don't see that Nintendo could have launched it in any other way. This is the console they should have launched with, and I don't want to say that it's any different. But now that they've got it, everybody's got an understanding of what this thing is and how it works, and then leaning into like it's this to me, and it's this, like allowing people to choose. Yeah, form factor becomes a big thing for me. So I think that you have to find a way to deal with the Joy-Cons. I don't know how you make those things any smaller.
Listen, to me it's real simple.
Although it's the same as
to me, it's very
3DS.
Simple. What you do is you basically put, and I'm not saying the Pro Controller. Damn, I'll hit myself in the face with it. I'm not saying the Pro Controller, but how you don't make it where the Joy-Cons come off on that version.
Right. That's it.
You know, you basically have the screen built in, and it hooks on.
Remember that first NX thing that we saw where the controllers were built into the screen? You're like, how is the little oval?
Yeah, because my thing is when I say it all the time, and I really believe it. We're going to get different versions of the Switch. This is going to turn into an Apple type thing, where think about it, like Apple.
It's really a Nintendo type thing.
Well, what I mean is
they've been doing it forever. But
what I mean is like when you look at an Apple phone, where as time progressed on, the older models started to get converted into other things. You know, like they became more ground, like to step in. Like this is your ground level to get into, the floor level to get into what all of this is. I can totally see them going, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to shrink the screen down a little bit. We're going to put the Joy-Cons where they don't come off, and it's attached to it, and it's going to be a small, like you said, a pocket or whatever, and it's just a small thing where you can still play all the same games, and it can do the same stuff, and it's, because as we move forward, and NVIDIA gets more shots at this, they're going to start to go, oh, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can do, and I compare it to Apple because when you look at the iPhones now compared to when they first started, it's light years ahead.
Yeah.
And they're just amazing tech within them. So I think that like we'll get a 2 and a 3. Meanwhile, the 1s will start to get converted because the prices will be cheaper on all the parts and all that stuff. The 1s will turn into like these pockets where, hey, you want this? It's $200, whatever. It comes with Joy-Cons attached. They don't come off. They don't break off. It is what it is. Go. I can totally see that happening, honestly. I can really see it happening. So I like the idea, too, honestly.
Yeah, so I go smaller and I go larger for the people who only use it as a home console.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that exactly looks like, or if you'd even want that. I feel like the smaller version actually makes more sense than a bigger version, but maybe there's a place in the world for a big old 10-inch Switch where you can just mainly, like for people who use it in tabletop mode, or they just have it. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
Like a big old tablet.
If it's just being used in tabletop mode, yeah, absolutely. I think so. I was thinking for a minute.
Huge thing attached to the TV.
Well, I think about my iPad Pro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
You know, like if I could have that and basically like the Joy-Cons wouldn't attach to it per se. You know, maybe they do, but it's a thing where it's mainly used, like you said, for tabletop mode. Yeah, man, sign me up. Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Now, with the other thing that I would do with this is I would put a second charging port on the Switch tablet itself, one that's in the back. So this way, when I'm in kickstand mode, I can still charge the thing without trying to have to do wonky things with it. I think that's a misstep. If I'm only getting 2 to maybe 3 hours out of it and I'm playing with my friends and we're doing a LAN party, you got to have an easier way to charge this thing. I think this was a mistake to just do the thing underneath. Now, I have this stand here that I bought that has a hole in the bottom of it, if you could see here.
Yep.
And it's an O-Motion that I bought. So for those that can't see, I bought this stand from O-Motion, and it has a hole in the bottom where I can put the charging in. But I can't carry this with me all the time. You know what I mean? So if I'm on the go and like when I'm at work, I'm not taking it with me. It kills my portability and all that stuff. So that's something that I would do.
I thought you were gonna say so you could charge it twice as fast or get like superpower. You get like you just use all the power in your house to plug into these extra ports. Put in 6 power ports.
External mic. So, you know, because when you looked at like a lot of things, like the 3DS had a microphone built into it. I think that this way now you can get into the voice chat stuff without actually wearing a headset. I think that would be something that you should look at, honestly, as we move forward. I would like to see them make the console beefier with the inside. So then at some point moving forward, we do get the voice chat app built into the Switch itself. I think at some point as we move forward, that is going to be what's going to happen. They're going to move that app as a downloadable thing to the actual Switch. I don't think it can be done now, but I think moving forward, as time progresses, it's going to happen. I really believe it, man.
Well, that was part of one of my changes. I want to see a headphone jack built into either the Joy-Cons or another iteration of the Pro controller. So that kind of all rolls out in one. And I was listening to, shout out to Gary Gray and Topic Nintendo podcast, and I was listening to him, and I was nodding like very aggressively when he was talking about this idea that voice chat is going to drain battery like beyond belief. And I don't believe that for a second. I don't think that there's a huge draw. Of course, there's a draw, but is it significant? I don't think so at all. I don't buy it for a second. I think this is just one of those tunnel vision things that Nintendo does. We're like, we got a great idea, and this is the route that we're going. And then they put this, and they're just so blinded to what actually would have made sense or what everybody else is doing. I think voice chat needs to be built into the thing, and the key to that is either Bluetooth headsets or some form of headphone jack built into the controllers.
Speaking of which, the Pro controller, moving forward, I would build a microphone or a headset jack into the controller. So this way, future models of the Pro controller would allow you to have your headset right there in your hands. That would be a move.
Didn't I just say that? I think I just said that.
Did you say that exactly?
That's what I meant.
I thought you were talking about the tablet itself.
Nope, the controllers.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad we agree.
Okay, yeah. The last thing that I would do is, and this would be an iteration on Joy-Cons moving forward, I would give people the opportunity, I would maybe call it like Joy-Cons Pro, where the actual analog sticks are from the Pro controller, not the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Because these things are beefier than the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons, they feel a little flimsy, and it just doesn't feel as natural in your hands, where the Pro controller, I love the analog sticks. They're big, they're bulky. I don't need the buttons to be as big. They don't have to worry about that part of it. Like, the buttons are fine. The small buttons are fine. But I would just go with something a little bit bigger and bulkier on it. And maybe with that Joy-Con Pro attachment, you put a D-pad on rather than the buttons for the other one. So basically just take, other than these gigantic buttons, which are amazing, don't get me wrong, you can keep the buttons on the right side the same size, small. The buttons on the left, eliminate and put a D-pad, and then put the bigger, bulkier analog sticks on it. I would buy one in a minute.
I think Nintendo's learning a lot from the current iteration of the Joy-Cons. I think the fact that this thing comes with, like, when was the last time that I guess probably the Famicom, when a console came with two controllers that you can just like pick it up and play it. That's the plus. Obviously, that's a huge thing for this one. So I think that they're really learning on this. I think they're figuring out what that next one is going to be, and I think that'll be a big deal, man. I think that's a good point. Not only just for yourself, like playing, but when you split into two and have it for that second person, making the Joy-Cons a bit of a better option for that second person, I think would be really, really huge. Because you kind of look at, I was playing Puyo Puyo Tetris when I was camping last weekend with my brother. We were just kind of sitting there, like, and we both kind of recognized, like, this is so much fun. But holy crap, these things are small. Like, this would be, and it's not really doing what, like, a D-pad would be way more precise, especially when we're playing Tetris and things like that. So, something to improve on as well.
Kids, it's perfect for kids.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and again, like, in a pinch, I'm so glad it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
But it could definitely be improved upon.
Oh, absolutely. I agree, absolutely. I think, though, when I think Nintendo thinks, they think kids first, adults and parents secondly. So for them, this is perfect. Like, if I had two kids, this is ideal. You know what I mean? Like, you go to a restaurant. Oh, no, could you imagine?
Two little Bobbies.
Go to a restaurant.
Dear Nintendo, my dad is the Nintendo guru. His name is Bobby. Why don't you ever return his calls?
Anyway. All right, so we're good with that? We're good with that topic?
I want more memory, too.
Well, yeah, that would be ultimately nice.
I want more built-in memory.
It'd be nice. I wish that they would do something moving forward, and we don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, you recognize. I think everybody recognizes with this version. I think if Nintendo would have waited 2 more years, if the Wii U would have just been a better console, that they didn't have to like drop it so quickly. I think if we would have gotten the Switch when it was originally intended, I think it was originally intended a couple more years from now. Probably like 3, 4. But I would think it'd probably be about 3 to 4 more years from now when the Switch potentially would have been launched. They had to pull it forward because of the situation that was going on. The Wii was just life support. I think knowing that and thinking that, I think a lot of the things that are now getting worked out would have been there. And what I mean by that is, you just have there's just some tweaks that they need to make to this thing that would make it better, and so hopefully as we move forward, I think we're going to see some of that stuff getting implemented, and moving forward, I think that's where, because I think the docks, I don't know that the docks are perfect. I know people complain about scratches and stuff. I don't have that issue. I haven't had that issue, knock on wood.
I put a sock over mine.
Yeah, I
scratched the back of mine.
Did you really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I was an idiot about it. It was the very first time that I put in there. I'm like, what's this? How do you put it in there? And I was very haphazard about it, just like not very careful. And then I was like, oh, snap, that marked it up pretty good. So I've been careful ever since.
Yeah, I always put it in slowly.
It's funny, like, because that front cover does not need to be there. obviously we're seeing like Nyko versions coming out. Like it's just about like making it look sleek and making it clear. They needed that because it needed to be abundantly clear that you're not using that as a second screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we all get that,
yeah,
and move on.
I mean, the logo is nice to have on the front. I do like
it is pretty nice.
I do like it. I like it. I personally, I like the whole dock and all. I know it's just basically a piece of plastic and it is what it is, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm glad you do.
Yeah, me too.
I like it too. Right.
Okay, second topic. Lorne Lanning. I kind of want to get into this a little bit. Not too much with the whole rage and grab pitchforks and all that nonsense that people have been doing right now with it. I don't necessarily have an issue with what he said about Iwata. I think it was he misspoke. I don't think I think what he said wasn't what he meant. I think he said something and didn't clarify it, and Greg and them just kind of pushed past, and it didn't give them the opportunity to clarify because they didn't. Greg and them was just like, I think Greg and them recognized like, wow, did you just say that, and just let the conversation keep moving past.
So by that you mean like things that Iwata was working on killed him?
Yes, that part. I don't think that's the case. I think what he meant was,
I agree.
I think he just meant in a capacity of like, man, this is beating the hell out of me. That type of killed me, not like it literally killed him and put him in the grave. That's not the way the internet sees it. The internet thinks
I'm with you. Well, and they're all reading it, right? They're reading it, so they don't hear it. When you hear it, and that's the thing. Like I would strongly suggest what we're about to talk about. You go and you look at and watch what he said. It's on Kind of Funny. It was a Game Over Greggy show. The part that I want to basically go is he makes a thing where he makes a point where he says that when they were getting ready to put Oddworld New and Tasty on the Wii U, Nintendo had nothing going on at that time. No third-party games, no first-party games, any of that. And he had said to them, hey, would you tweet about this? And would you talk about it? And would you promote it? And they said no. They said, we only promote day and date games. Games that launch today on Nintendo, but is also on PlayStation and Xbox and all that. A game that launches today on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, all that, and then 5 years later, you bring it to Nintendo. Nintendo does not want to promote those games. Yep.
Do you agree with that standpoint, or do you disagree with that standpoint?
I agree 100%, and I'm just going to dive right into this, Bobby, and I think that there's a huge precedent for why they don't want to do this, and it's the Wii U.
Yeah.
I think all the launch titles that the Wii U had were all old games that were released eventually on the Wii U, obviously, and people laughed at them. Yeah. Like, of course they don't want to it's not even about, like, just getting games. They've learned that it's not just that they've got games to talk about. Like, gamers recognize that these games are coming late, and it looked poorly upon Nintendo. Yeah. So, like, this is definitely a thing that saves face for them, and they are all about that. They're shutting down fan creations and all these different things, like, in an effort to maintain their brand. Yeah. And I think that when they talk to a guy like Lorne Lanning and they say, sorry, man, like, you already kind of went to the other guys, like, you're welcome to come onto our console, but that's kind of it. Like, if you want any special treatment, like, you got to do something special for us, and bringing your game to our console doesn't count. Yeah. So, yeah, like, and I'm sort of glad that he made these comments, because, I mean, obviously they're polarizing. There are people who are like, yeah, Nintendo sucks, and they would have been saying that anyways. But it also, like, I think that he was so hard and fast in his comments, so black and white, that anybody who lives in the gray to the fanboy area is kind of like, dude, that's not a rational statement at all. And actually gets more people on Nintendo's side. Yeah. I think overall. So definitely they need to keep this. They need to have good relationships. It has to be mutually beneficial for Nintendo and the game developers.
I look at it like this. The minute Nintendo starts to do that, then what leverage do they have to a Call of Duty, to a whatever, Red Dead and stuff, if there's thoughts of bringing those games over, and they go, well, are you going to help market this? And Nintendo's like, no. If you're not bringing it day and date, why? Because honestly, it's a slap in the face to the guys like Yacht Club, to 13 AM games. I mean, that was a good point, too. Image and Form, all that stuff that are like, they're bringing these games, and they're working with Nintendo day one to make sure they work on it. The other thing I wanted to say was he makes a point of saying, like, with the Switch being underpowered, that why would I want to bring my game? It's going to take me more work to get it to port over and this and that. For some game companies, absolutely, I agree with that statement. I believe with that statement, all for it. A game like Ukulele, a game like Abe's Oddworld, those types of games, they're not juggernauts. They're not eating up a lot of power. Save the BS.
I'm glad you brought up Ukulele, man. That'll be an interesting case too, right? Because obviously that game is out for everything else. Do you think
they will?
Nintendo?
But here's why: they're doing. If this is Nintendo's stance, just so people understand, if you don't bring a game day and date, if it comes 6 months, a year later, it needs to be something specific to Nintendo. It needs to have something different on Nintendo that's not on the other guys. Ukulele, they're actually doing something different with the Joy-Cons and the motion controls or something like that. Is the reasoning why they're saying it's taking longer. That part I get. But at the end of the day, you were working on Wii U. The Switch is more powerful than the Wii U. Why was that not ported and brought over day and date with the other guys? That, to me, that's where Nintendo needs to keep that, that.
And I think this is a good sort of example. I mean, this is an example of what not to do. The business is too small. The world is too small. Why are people burning bridges like this? Like, why are we so quick? Like, we've seen how quickly Xbox just like it was on top and now it is not. Yeah. And anybody, like, why are we not learning lessons of this bravado that people put on, these personalities that get a little too big for their britches? Yep. And like, you don't know what's happening tomorrow. You don't know what's happening next year. You might be begging Nintendo in a year's time to go. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen, but I just feel like people are really quick to just throw stones. Yeah. And why?
Well,
just
where he
relax.
So where he was standing at that point, and that's the thing. This is all coming out now, which I don't understand why people picked up on it now. I watched this interview months ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
This happened right after, like maybe 2 weeks after the launch of the Switch.
Yep.
So it was a while ago. This isn't like he made the comments today, but at that point still, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever we're at that point, PlayStation's the juggernaut, PlayStation's crushing everybody, Nintendo's coming in and people aren't sure what it's going to do.
Yep.
Now, not even 4 months later, the talk of the town is the Nintendo and the Switch, and everybody's focused on the Switch. Dude, a game gets announced, and the first words out of everybody's mouth is, are you making it for the Switch? Are you making it for the Switch? Are you making it for... Like, everybody wants to play games on the Switch.
It is amazing, man. They really are gunning for... I've seen a number of articles pop up to say at least outselling the Xbox in this calendar year.
Oh, I think they will.
That's crazy. Yeah. And like, you can go back. I've said it on this show. I don't expect them to be even number 2.
And they're going to be. They're going to be right there.
Man, they're going to be. They are. They're gunning for number 1. And so that's what I mean. Like, why are people so quick to cast such negative comments towards something that, like, it's sort of a hipster thing, maybe, like just trying to hate on what's popular. I don't know. Is that hipster? I feel like I use that incorrectly. Maybe. But like, when you throw hate towards things that are super, super popular, like, you really stand a good chance of looking kind of silly. And again, this is coming out months later. We're not even really the full swing of, like, we haven't hit Mario yet. Nope. This is gonna. I guarantee you, mark my words, he's gonna be eating those words. They were too hard and fast. They were too black and white. And I get that's his personality. Yeah. But I think it was a bit of a mistake, man. And Nintendo's going to be laughing at the end of the day. They've been around this block 100 times before, where people are doubting on Nintendo and thinking that they have no faith. Like, he's not the first person to say they've got no faith in Nintendo. Yeah. That's fine. No. So it's just different. He can, I mean, Chelsea loves the Abe's Oddworld games, and I just never really understood it. Which.
They're not my thing.
I wish that I did, so that I feel like I'd be a little bit more balanced in my comments towards him, which I don't think that I'm too totally biased against him. But if I liked it, I'd be a little bit more like, oh, dude, like, you should just. Here's my thing. Still am like that. I just wish he was a little nicer.
So my thing is this: I'm not into certain games. There's certain games I'm just not into, right? But I don't bash the developer because of the fact of, like, I look at it and go, like, well, what's the next one that's coming? Like, what's the next version that's coming and such? And this is where we're at. Like, it's like, I look at, like, I'm going to use the example. I know you hate when I use this example. Image and Form.
Image and Form.
So, when they did Dig 1, then they shifted to Heist. So Abe's Oddworld could be like the dig, and maybe the next game I'm all about and I love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just don't like this particular franchise or this version. Doesn't mean I don't love your games. Doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, Jules is another one. Like, you look at Mutant Mudds and you look at Xenodrifter. Two totally different types of games. Chicken Wiggle is nothing like the other two. So when you look at that stuff and you go, okay, I like Chicken Wiggle. Oh, man, I really don't like Mutant Mudds because it's hard. It's very hard, you know? So it's like, maybe I don't like Abe's Oddworld, but maybe he does, you know, Ramsey's Quest, and I like that, you know what I mean? Like, so... But I look at it like this, like when you're making comments like that, it makes me not want to support you not support you just because I just don't want to support, because I just feel like, man, you're being a jerk. Like, of anything, the developers should be the ones like, hey, we want all games to sell. We want all games to flourish. Like, they're the ones that supposedly look at it and go like, hey, we don't want the fanboys. We don't want, like, we want you to own all the consoles, not one console. Like, Phil Spencer doesn't say that stuff. You know what I mean? Phil Spencer doesn't come out and go, screw Nintendo, get rid. He's all praising it. You know what I mean? Like, and he's their competition. So if he doesn't have an axe to grind against you, why do you have the axe to grind? And that's
well, and I think that there's a spectrum, and I think that we've seen, even just talking to developers, you and I, Bobby, like we can see the grind that these guys go through, and so it's understandable. And I think if you listen to the conversation, like the whole thing, you do get a sense that he's been burned a couple times, and I can only imagine what it would be like to work on these things for years on end, and then have them, like, you put them out, and you're like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And even on, was it on original Xbox, or I feel, I may be speaking, like, somebody can oops me or whatever in the comments, but I seem to remember one of the original Abe's Odyssey games supposed to, like, they were thinking that was going to be the game for Xbox, and then it ended up being Halo. Like, they thought like that was the platformer, that was the thing that they needed, that was going to be the pillar of sales, was going to come from this. And so if you're the developer, if you're the guy thinking like, yeah, man, I've made it, I'm going to be the thing that sells consoles, and then that doesn't happen, and then you just kind of like keep tripping, or like you just keep having that like success, but not Halo success. And that's a thing that happens in all forms of media when people are creating stuff. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you, and that's got to suck. It's like the Dave Mustaine thing versus Metallica thing. It's got to wear on you. And I got that sense from him big time in this conversation. So I get it. But at the same time, let's just, like, that's why it burns way more calories to be on the positive side than it just to just ramble on about that stuff. When I
watch that and I say it's not an interview, it's just a conversation.
It's a conversation.
But when I watch him talking, this is the way I took it. I took it as, here's the guy who has an ego this big because he's done a couple things, and he felt like Nintendo, who was struggling at the time, should have been begging him to get that game on that console.
I don't think he was the only one, too. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of developers who are out there thinking, like, where's my dev kit? Come on, man. You guys need games. I'll make one for you. Where's my dev kit?
At the end of the day, they're just like, no, like, we want good quality stuff, and we're going to work.
And let's be honest, like, look how things turned out. They had that Nindies presentation, and like, it wasn't 1,000 like PlayStations got, but like, they were all good. Yeah. And that's, honestly, I value that so much. Like, this curation. If Nintendo can figure out a way, and they're probably the only one who has any interest in doing this, they can figure out a way to make sure that the games that are coming out for their system are quality, and there's not just shovelware thrown on there like it happened with the Wii. That's truly, it's like the Nintendo stamp of approval.
They just announced Friday, that they have 300 dev teams working on approving games that are coming in to make sure that they...
Really?
Yes. To make sure that they're going through quickly, but they're also checking everything to make sure that the quality is up to their par before they just push it through.
I mean, like, it's the crash all over again. We see it on mobile and every other thing. On Steam, it's got like 6 billion games. Yeah. That's kind of the same size that we saw before. Absolutely. Well, you saw when you were in your teens back when the original crash, right? You son of a... Oh, preteens.
Very preteen.
You were learning about deodorant. You're shaving for the first
time. Is all. Thank you guys for listening to us. iTunes,
this is fun.
Dayspace, Google Play. We are on Google Play now. I did fix it. Yes, we are.
Approved.
We're good. Dude, 3 times I put it through, and it finally got approved.
It's that Google Play, man.
It just kept kicking it out. I don't know why, but
I know it's that whole podcast system works on Android. No wonder it crashes all the time.
So it's there. If you want to go check it out, you can also check us out on YouTube. You can check out Sean's Planet Express Is it Planet Express? Yeah, Planet Express. I thought it was Planet Fitness for a second.
No, dude.
So that is all simulator.
Do you think that you forgot something to say just now because I threw you off? Did you pause for a second?
I did forget to say something,
did you miss
but I'm
something?
not going back to it. Our Twitter handles, but whatever.
Bye.